Hello and welcome to the podcast, Dear Visionary. This is Anna. I am a mentor for paradigm shifting leaders who are done trying to fit into the old boxes. Because you see, these are boxes that were never meant for you. So, what I do is I help you activate your highest purpose, embody your power, and build a life that honors your soul's mission. Today, we're going to unpack a big one, okay? Why visionaries struggle until they stop following the old rules. This is very, very important. So, if this episode resonates with you, if you felt blocked, stuck, or like you're doing all the right things, but still nothing seems to be working on the surface, that everyone else around you just seems to do one thing and then everything aligns perfectly for them, then this episode will definitely speak directly to your soul. You see, anchoring in a higher vision, it's not the same as simply copying someone else's idea or proven formula. And there are different elements to it. There are different steps to it, right? Because first, an idea needs to be validated, okay? Now, because you're a visionary, because you are ahead of your time, the world may not right away accept your vision, embrace your vision as the new norm. Okay, because as we know, humanity for a very, very long time has remained very loyal to old belief systems that simply do not serve them. But this is still the paradox, is that even though these are systems that have clearly worked against them, they do not know a way out. And when I say they, this is 99% of humanity. These are newer souls, okay? When I talk about old souls and new souls, the old souls are advanced beings that have had multiple incarnations here on Earth. And because of that experience, they have gathered a lot of wisdom. They not only have that, but they also have star origins that grants them certain superpowers, I want to say, but these are for another episode. So if you felt odd, if you felt weird around the people that were that you were surrounded with, that if you felt different, then just know that this works in your favor. You were just not in the right circles. You were just not in the right environment. Because newer souls, they mostly come here to learn. This is very important to know. Newer souls, they mostly come here a little bit experiential. So the way they see Earth is like, oh, nice, I'm just going to try this plane of existence and see where this goes. And well, sometimes they make a lot of mistakes and they learn their karma throughout lifetimes. But you see, you have learned karmic lessons. You know that your actions have consequences. For as hard as it may seem, for an old soul, for an advanced soul, there are many, many, many souls. In fact, the majority, over 90% of them, and by the way, these are percentages that I feel that resonate with me. There are obviously no scientific proof of that, but this is how it resonates in my soul when I speak. Earth it's one of the densest planes of existence, and it's almost like an experiment. Therefore, most advanced souls come here to learn very difficult and challenging experiences. But we're going to go into the spiritual stuff maybe in a later episode. It's tempting not to go there, but I just want to come back to today's topic: why visionaries struggle until they stop following the old rules. And this is because the system was never built for you. The system was built for new souls. The system was built for people who are followers. The systems, when I say systems, the traditional education, business models, even like the new shiny coaching frameworks that are just very predictable, they are just repeated patterns, okay? They are repeated patterns. And I want to talk at the higher level, because what may seem as evolution, this is very important. And those of you who are meant to understand will understand. What is sold as evolution, we talk about the influencer model. Everyone nowadays wants to be an influencer. Well, good luck finding fulfillment with that. You are here on a higher mission. Your soul is here for something that is way higher and that transcends the old paradigms. And yes, when I say old paradigms, that includes the new shiny modern world lies, illusions that are sold left and right. And the only humans that are attracted to those are, again, the followers. So regardless of whether we talk about the old system as in the 9 to 5, the old traditional models, or the new shiny models, it's just about the frequency of where you are coming from. Do I just want to rely upon a system that was built, or am I here to follow my own intuition and build something that I know that is of the highest good, period? And this is why I keep saying the visionaries are meant to break the old paradigms. They're not here to follow scripts, okay? And this is where we can introduce the conversation around the new age of Aquarius. Those of you who are into astrology, I'm personally not necessarily an expert or anything like that. I don't want to pretend that I am, but I do tend to follow sometimes because I believe it is very related to the kind of movements. It's very I know many people use it as a roadmap to help them go through these motions, go through these planetary changes that Mother Gaia also undergoes. But if you don't, that's also perfectly fine, because you mostly follow your intuition, and your intuition really is based, because you're a very highly sensitive soul, you are very influenced by these planetary changes. See, newer souls are not in tune with these sensory experiences because they are very much in their ego. And when you're in your ego, you're in your mind, you're not very much connected with your intuition, with your higher chakras, with your entire system, okay? You basically solely operate from your lower chakras, okay? From your solar plexus, which is the ego, the identity. They're very strongly connected to that identity, but they don't go into their heart chakra. When you go into the heart chakra, that's when you get to connect with greater purpose, with a higher intelligence, okay? And then obviously we go into the upper chakras, which are all about connecting with the divine. So I'm doing my best not to make this episode in particular very spiritual in nature. However, my purpose is to also decode spiritual notions to people who are, for example, I come from a very scientific background. I used to be an engineer for the first 10 years of my life. Well, not of my life, but of my path, of my adult life. And I know that going full into the spiritual world was not for me either, because I have found that it's just not grounded in reality. I am someone who needs understanding of certain notions or ways of life in order to actually base my reality upon those notions. And I can feel that you're someone who is very, very much balanced as well, right? Logical and intuition, but very importantly, also intuition. So you're not just here to buy into the technological advancement and believe that this is what the Age of Aquarius is all about. No, the Age of Aquarius is actually going higher spiritually. Okay, this is what the advancement of humanity is all about, is on all levels. Okay, if you look at the past 20 years, I mean, yes, we have evolved technologically in a way that is just mind blowing. Okay, however, without pairing that with morals and spiritual values, it goes to hell. As we can see, right? The AI, these are tools that must be used, but humanity is allowing the tools to use them. And here's where you come into play, dear visionary. You come here with that higher perspective. You are here to lead others into a new way of being that is spiritually advanced. Okay, I know that many of you, I can definitely sense it. You are someone who's also meant to disrupt and change industries, but you do it with a set of values that truly help humanity evolve. So this is what the New Visionaries, I am here and speaking to a very specific set of the collective, a very specific part of the collective. If you resonate with being one of the 144,000 or the first waves of visionaries, the first waves of change makers that are here to anchor in this higher reality that we call the new earth, then you know that is not about there's a deeper, there's a higher orchestration. It's not just about an agenda, it's a higher orchestration that is at play. So this is where the shift happens. Okay, the shift happens when you understand your role and your mission, and when you embrace the fact that the world's feedback may not match your soul's blueprint. When you stop seeking for that validation out there and you start validating your own vision and embody the role that you came here to have, that's when everything shifts. You walk into the world with more conviction. You walk out into the world with less expectations. I want to say with less expectations, because you no longer impose your vision upon those who were never meant to understand it, but also you do not shrink in a system that limits your intuition and that limits your depth. And you stop agreeing to whatever is happening out there, and you accept the fact that people don't agree with you. So when you stop following the rules, dear visionary, that's when everything shifts. And I'm getting goosebumps. Like these conversations are meant to be highly activating, because I know that for many of you out there, this path has not been easy. And I'm going to talk about this in later episodes. This path wasn't meant to necessarily be easy, because you must build strength. And in order for us to build strength, then we go through challenges, we go through learning experiences. So here's what I want to say before wrapping this episode. It was a little charged. I want to say there's a lot to unpack here. But thankfully, there is going to be more occasions for us to do so in future episodes. So here are some myths, some old rules that sometimes unconsciously we may give too much power to. Okay, this is what I want to break I want you to break free from your mind and the programs. These are programs, okay? Although you are a very advanced soul, your mind is a machine. Your mind has also been programmed, okay? You have also gone through the same process of being boxed in and reduced to a identity as everyone else. Now, your intuition was stronger, and your intuition was, which some people call their soul. Your soul pulled you in a different direction your entire life. However, your mind, your machine, your algorithm was still playing by the old rules. And there is this inner conflict that happens with most visionaries, where once they finally break free from the system's influence, there is a phase of transition where they have to rewire their system to something that is truer to them. And this is what most people call spiritual awakening or ego death. Okay, this is the death of your old identity, the identity that you were programmed into, which is not who you truly are. So these are the rules that your mind may have unconsciously lived by. And the first one is, if people don't get it, I must be doing something wrong. That could not be further from the truth. This means that you were offering a frequency that has not been normalized yet. Period. It's about frequency. You see, I was always questioning my entire identity, or the ways in which I was showing up, or maybe it's the way I'm speaking, maybe it's the way I am, maybe I need to articulate my vision more. None of that. You were just offering a frequency to those who were not meant to receive it, or at least not yet. It was never about the words. It was never about surface level criteria. It was about frequency. It's about energy, because 3D, the third dimension, the lower level of consciousness vibrates on low level emotions. And those create an energetic frequency. You as an advanced soul has always vibrated at the higher level, okay, at least the 5D level. Sometimes you can go higher, but for now, like, in order to stabilize, this is for now, we can only stabilize the 5D, and still, especially over the past 5 years, we have gone on and off. Now it is much easier. Now a lot of us are already living and stabilizing that higher frequency of the 5D, because Mother Gaia collectively is also able to do that. It's not just us. We cannot uphold the frequency on our own, right? It's not, a lifting cars contest or anything like that. It's collectively, okay? So this is the first outdated rule, that your mind was playing on autopilot. The second one, if it hasn't been done before, it must not be valid. See, visionaries are ahead of their time, by definition. Your ideas do not have a model to follow. People want to be followers. 99% of humans want to be followers. Obviously, we cannot only have leaders. That would mean 8 billion people leading who? And if you think about it, we only need a few 100,000 to anchor in this higher frequency, because not everyone will follow either. So this is a distinction that every visionary must have, is understanding that they're a pioneer, understanding that so long they remain stuck in the old rules, playing by the old rules, they will encounter hostilities. So it is very important to anchor in, to validate your vision, and to anchor in your higher frequency, stabilize it. And when you do that, when you walk into the world with this higher conviction, then new higher experiences are going to start coming towards you. A new higher reality is going to start unfolding around you based on the frequency that you emanate. Because I know that a lot of advanced souls tend to tone down their frequency when they go out into the world. But at the same time, you may just pass by another visionary. You may be sitting at a cafe and just bitching about the world and not even realizing that just across your table there is someone else who's doing the same. But because your frequencies are so low, you may just look at them and see, well, that's just another NPC. No one gets me. No one understands me. So when you walk around with this notion, with this mentality, what is the universe going to do? It's just going to play the same experience on repeat. And although those may have been valid in your old life, those were experiences that were true, you are meant to lead yourself out of that and create a whole new reality for yourself first, because leaders must first lead themselves. Okay. So, for today's episode, I would like to ask you, okay, where am I still waiting for permission? These are 3 things that I want you to take away from today's episode. What rules do I follow out of fear and not out of truth? And how would my life change if I were to walk out into the world with conviction and full trust in my vision? When you align with your inner knowing, everything changes. Everything changes. You start creating from overflow. You start creating from a place of knowing. And you start creating, making an impact, okay? Now, don't beat yourself up. These can only be stabilized by trial and error. But it must start with you. You are the one who must initiate those changes first in your own life and then out into the world. Okay? So, if this message resonated, please take a moment to comment about your current situation, or tell us about your vision, your purpose. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of these kind of messages, and definitely share it with another visionary who needs to hear this. We need you more out there. We need to be collectively shifting the consciousness. And it starts with ourselves. This work really creates ripple effects out into the world. And the more we lead from within, the more we shift the world. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, keep trusting that inner guidance within.